People's Progressive Party welcomes and salutes the Tushaus and leaders from the 216 Amerindian villages and communities across Guyana who are attending the National Tushaus Conference 2016. Born out of an idea that arose from the first National Conference on Protected Areas held in 1995 at Paramakatoy, hosted by the then President Cheddi Jagan, the first National Tushaus Conference was held in 2006. Since then, the NTC has established itself as the standard bearer of the Amerindian people of Guyana. Indeed, the NTC has grown into a formidable institution of national importance. The NTC, the forerunner of Amerindian Heritage Month, brings together 216 Amerindian Tushaus and leaders from the 216 Amerindian communities and villages across our country. It is a forum where the Amerindian Tushaus and leaders meet to deliberate and exchange ideas and experiences on a wide range of matters of great importance, if not urgency, to the Amerindian people of our country. The Amerindian people have struggled long and hard to win the socio-economic and cultural achievements they enjoy today. The NTC 2016 is being held at a time when ominous clouds threaten to diminish the achievements compounded by the political and economic challenges that has emerged with the APNU-AFC in government. In this respect, in just 18 months, several blows have been dealt to the Amerindian people. These include: 1. Arbitrary and whimsical dismissal of over 2,000 Amerindian young people employed as community support officers on the grounds that they were political activists of the PBPC administration being paid from state funds. 2. Removal of the name Amerindian from the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs and renaming it the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs, which suggests the inclusion of all naturally born persons indigenous to Guyana. 3. The sinister move to change the Amerindian Act to the Indigenous Peoples Act with the intention of ransacking its basic tenets as well as the letter and spirit of the Act. 4. Confiscation of 6,000 solar panels procured for ICT hubs in Amerindian communities and villages, and commandeering the said panels by the Ministry of the Presidency for its exclusive use. 5. Non-utilization of the $6 billion allocated for land titling and the dismantling of a land titling unit established at the then Ministry of Amerindian Affairs. 6. Abandonment of village development plans aimed at fostering village economies through real and sustainable development within the Amerindian communities and villages. 7. Disappearance of 2,000 of the 10,000 computers that were assigned to ICT hubs in the Amerindian communities and villages to promote ICT-based social and developmental initiatives and fostering of the village economy. 8. Abandonment of the principle and accepted practice of free, prior, and informed consultations, whose aim is to establish and promote bottom-up participation and consultation with the Amerindian people before adopting or taking any measure, administrative or legislative that may impact the lives of the Amerindian people. 9. Pursuance of a devious plan that is fraught with horrendous consequences, that is, to relocate the Walter Roth Museum, where treasured and precious Amerindian artifacts and exhibits are currently located, and to locate same to an unknown destination simply because of a presidential edict to expand the estate of the presidency. 10. Persistent harassment, intimidation, and victimization by APNU AFC appointed local government officials towards Amerindians in their respective villages and communities. They are constantly threatened, or they connive with others to deprive Amerindian families of their private property. 11. Imposition of heavy and burdensome licensing fees on Amerindians who, for years, have been licensed firearm holders and who are now faced with the threat to have their firearms revoked or seized under the cloak of gun control, using the coercive apparatus of the state to deprive them of their licensed firearms. 12. In addition to the above, the government must say where, when, and how they engage the Amerindian people in free, prior, and informed consultations with respect to the 2 million hectares of forests that the President pledged to bring under conservation at the Paris Conference on Climate Change held earlier this year. The government must also inform the nation where is the 2 million hectares to be found. But these challenges notwithstanding, the Amerindian people have made tremendous strides under the PBPC government in every aspect of social, economic, and cultural endeavors. In and out of government, the PBP will exert every effort to defend the gains and the rights of the Amerindian people. The People's Progressive Party is a national party. It embraces all Guyanese who are forward-looking, deeply committed, and who, in their daily lives, make every effort to transform our beautiful country into one of peace, progress, and prosperity. On the occasion of NTC 2016, and on the eve of Amerindian Heritage Month 2016, the PBP calls on all Amerindians to continue their struggle and to stand firm in their determination to protect their rights and dignity, and not to fall prey to the pretenses and window dressings by the APNU AFC coalition administration. The party takes the opportunity to express its deepest gratitude to all Amerindians who, year after year, have reposed their confidence and optimism in the PBP and for the party's early return to govern Guyana. Thank you. Any questions? No, we're still in the statement. I'm giving people a chance to, reflect. I didn't get that.
Can you expound a bit on your thoughts on the relocation of the Walter Rock Museum?
Expand.
A little more on the Walter Rock Museum. Your thoughts on the relocation.
Well, I think it's well established now that the government is looking to relocate the Walter Roth Museum. It appears, however, that they have not getting very far with that, because they're bumping from pillar to post, looking for somewhere to house this museum. But it looks as though the act by its very nature will end up as a museum piece on the part of the government.
If it were to be relocated for sure, do you have any location in mind that might be suitable?
Yes, I have a location in mind, and it's one of the best locations that I can think about. That is exactly where it is right now. Yes, sir.
If I recall correctly, the Ministry of the Presidency had issued a statement saying that they would have made the relocation to the National Museum there, where the National Museum is.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying that they're creating space right in that building to house those artifacts and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
What is the concern with making the switch from where it is right now to putting the artifacts and so forth to the National Museum?
Well, I can't answer for the government. I think that question is better suited for the officials at the museum currently, or the Mr. Patterson's ministry. But I understand that Annette Ferguson went on a fishing expedition at that museum building, looking for a place to house the museum in the museum. And what she encountered was totally unsatisfactory. And she herself wasn't very happy with what she found. And so I understand they went rushing around looking for an alternative, and they went upstairs on the 4th floor of the GPO looking for, I don't know who sent them there, but maybe because it was just next door, somebody said, what about up there? Let's check up there. And so they rushed up to the 4th floor of the GPO building, and they didn't reach with any success there either. So they're trashing around. You know, this is really amazing how, you know, museums of such national and regional importance are being treated. You know, it's like if you're looking for, remind me of Christmas Eve night when, you know, Mary and her husband Joseph was looking for somewhere for the gentle Jesus to be born, and they found a stable. They couldn't find anywhere else. So
Mr. Roy, by no way is the PPP making this a political issue.
pardon?
By no way is the party making this a political issue.
Why would we want to do that? Why would we want to make it a political issue? This is a matter that the question, my friend, is a very simple and straightforward one. Why there has been no public reason, no public explanation. The gentleman that goes on TV every Friday or Thursday on Public Interest has never offered this nation an explanation why he wants the building. I think the nation deserves an explanation. Why does Mr. Granger want that building? Is he the type that is enamored with these, you know, type of building? Does he have a predisposition to, you know, is he a collector of buildings of that type? So we don't know. So he's allowing our imagination to run wild. He should put all this to rest by saying why he wants the building. You know, they gave us an explanation why they want Chedijagan Research Center, the Red House. And they made that a political issue. So, you know, they have a saying, once bitten, twice shy. So, I don't know. I think the nation deserves an explanation. We were made to understand that some uniformed soldiers marched into the building and told the employees of the museum that the president, and this is how they put it, you could report it how I am reporting. I'm not going to speak Queen's English here. The president said you are in this building. That's what they were told. Right? Now, I think that this thing requires some degree of sophistication, you know, unless we're dealing with a bunch of Philistines who have no appreciation whatsoever for the arts, the history. I saw a wonderful letter that was written by one of the young Ramkarans in this weekend newspaper. And I was very impressed with what he said in his letter. But it seems as though we're dealing with a bunch of Philistines who have no appreciation whatsoever for the arts and the culture. So this morning I was looking at Al Jazeera News, and I noticed that one of the men who have been accused of war crimes for destroying the fortress at Timbuktu, which is a historical location where slaves were transported from Africa to many other parts of the world, is now on trial. But he had no appreciation whatsoever for that historical location. And you could see in the documentation or in the documentary how he and his agents were destroying this fortress at Timbuktu in Mali, where slaves moved out from Africa and went to different parts of the world. And then we see in other parts in the Middle East where such Philistine elements are destroying, you know, great works of art and so on. So I don't know if that is what is happening in Guyana. The government needs to explain that. Any other question on the Walter Roth Museum?
You would have mentioned, Mr. Louis Fletcher Newsroom, you would have mentioned that an explanation was given for Red House. What was that explanation?
The explanation is that they wanted to house all the former presidents. They wanted Mr. Barnum Jombie, Mr. Horace Jombie, and all the other ex-presidents to be roaming free and wild in Red House. And, you know, in the same way that you have the clash of titans, you'll have the clash of the spirits in the Red House, with all these ex-president spirits and zombies roaming all over the place. I think they should leave it just to one. But if you have so many of them, you know, roaming all over, with Digicel just next door, it could very well matter what will happen.
Related issue, on the opposition leader's Facebook page, we would have noticed that he had meetings with Amerindian leaders who are here for the NTC.
Mm.
Could you say what this meeting was about?
Yes, I was present there. You know, notice that.
I can go through all the pictures.
Oh, okay, okay. No, I don't have a Facebook account.
There's one in your name, though, sir.
Oh, I see. Well, I don't know who manages it. But what I'm saying is that it's in keeping with a tradition where we, since we came out of government, we try or we invite. It's a public activity, it's not something that is clandestine. We invite the two shows and leaders from the Amerindian communities coming to the NTC to give them a briefing of our perspective from the last NTC to now, to this NTC. And we share with them our concerns and reservations in respect to government's policies towards the indigenous Amerindian people. and then we share with them our perspectives for the future as well. So it's basically a educational exercise where we expound our views, questions are asked, answers are given, and then there's a little socializing at the end of it. Of the question, of the statement, no. Somebody asked about of the statements. Well, I'm ready for that now.
Mr. Lee Sambu Dayathan, could you say the party has decided on which MP who will be the new member of parliament?
No, we haven't made such a decision as yet. We haven't made any decision as yet.
But you're in discussions right now.
Huh?
Are you in discussions right now on the matter?
Yeah, yeah.
Have you guys identified contenders?
Contenders?
Yeah. Like a
You mean
list of-
candidates?
Yeah, candidates, a list of people who could be suitable for the post.
Yes, we have, but I wouldn't want to divulge those names as yet.
Mr. Ray?
Yeah.
Haley, hi, Chairman. Recently we saw some cases of vigilante justice going upon. As a former Minister of Home Affairs, how would you suggest that this government deals with this new phenomenon? Well, not new, but growing.
Well, we've had this thing in the past, this phenomena in the past, long before the PPC came to government in '92, and with a view to addressing that issue, this is how, first of all, neighborhood watches came into being, and then from neighborhood watch it came into community policing. So the whole idea was to capture that exuberance and enthusiasm on the part of public-spirited citizens who wanted to contribute to, addressing crime and criminal activities within the framework of neighborhood watches and community policing, neighborhood policing as well. So, and the whole idea was to encourage persons who wanted to exercise their rights to protect the community and to protect each other, to join neighborhood police, to join community policing groups, and so forth, in order to deal with this issue in a more organized, in a more legal, law-abiding way, and of course in conjunction with the Guyana Police Force. Now, obviously, you will have challenges from time to time, and among those challenges you will have sporadic events of the type that we have witnessed over the past couple of days. But I do not believe that it is developed into a pattern so far from my own judgment. These are episodic events. They occur from time to time, and it's important that these persons be reminded of the need for them to get organized in either neighborhood watches, join the neighborhood police, or join the community police in order to, make their contribution one way or the other. And in that way, I believe, those episodic or sporadic activities would eventually taper out, but it doesn't mean to say that it would end. we're still awaiting further development in respect to the drama unfolding in respect to Mr. Norton and the bond. We understand that he was to deliver a letter of apology to the Speaker of the House. We consider that unacceptable. And we will continue to maintain our position in respect to Mr. Norton being brought before the Privileges Committee. I saw another interesting letter written by Mr. Claremont Lai, you know, in the weekend newspapers about misleading a parliament or a National Assembly or the House. It means misleading the nation. And I think some very progressive and some very enlightening views are now, you know, persons with such views are now coming forward. And I think this is healthy for our country because it shows that many people who are not in a political party are prepared to step forward and give their views on a matter that they consider to be a matter of principle, that they consider to be a matter of great concern, not only to themselves but the nation. And I think such views ought to be encouraged within a democracy. You know, not only the politicians must speak out, because sometimes when the politicians speak out, it looks as though it's one against the other, tit for tat, and so forth. I think it's important for, you know, well-meaning Guyanese, people in good standing, or any ordinary Guyanese to express their views, and the media should give them coverage. The media should, you know, give them space so that, you know, people could see the other side or another view apart from the regular views that are expressed by the usual suspects who hold press conferences, you know, every Monday or every Wednesday, or on the TV, public interest, and so forth. Good. Thank you very much.